Welcome back, coin lovers, history fans, and collectors from all around the world. Today's video is dedicated to one of the most iconic and widely collected coins in American numismatic history, the United States wheat penny. At first glance, the wheat cent may look like an ordinary old copper coin that many people still find in drawers, jars, or inherited collections. But behind its simple design lies a fascinating story of history, rarity, mint marks, condition, and surprising market value. Some wheat pennies are still worth just a few cents, while others have sold for hundreds, thousands, and even millions of dollars at auction. In today's video, we'll explore how different mint marks and conditions can turn a small 1-cent coin into a big money treasure in today's active coin market. So let's get started. First up, the United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1919 with the San Francisco S mint mark, especially examples found in dark, blackened, or rusty color shades. Many people overlook coins in poor or unusual condition, assuming they have little value. But in the world of coin collecting, even heavily circulated or environmentally affected coins can tell powerful stories and still hold collector interest. This video will help you understand why the 1919 S wheat penny matters, how its condition affects value, and what kind of dollar prices it can realistically bring in today's auction market. The importance of the 1919 S wheat penny. We need to look at its historical background. The Lincoln Wheat Cent series was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it the first regularly circulating U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1919, the United States was just emerging from World War I. The economy was adjusting, industries were changing, and the San Francisco Mint was producing coins primarily for circulation in the western states. Compared to Philadelphia, San Francisco mintages were often lower, and this plays a major role in collector demand today. The 1919 S wheat penny was struck in far smaller numbers than its Philadelphia counterpart, instantly giving it a stronger position among semi-key date Lincoln cents. When we examine the unique features of the 1919 S wheat penny, several details stand out. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait faces right, with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1919. Just below the date is the small but critical S mint mark, identifying San Francisco as the place of striking. On the reverse, the classic wheat ears frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum across the top. Coins found in black, dark brown, or rusty shades usually show heavy oxidation or environmental damage, often caused by long-term exposure to moisture or soil. While this coloration is not original mint toning, it gives the coin a rugged, aged appearance that reflects a century of circulation and storage. Rarity and condition play a major role in collector demand for the 1919 S wheat penny. In higher grades, this coin is genuinely scarce, especially in original red or red-brown condition. However, even in heavily circulated or corroded states, the 1919 S remains desirable because many collectors aim to complete full Lincoln wheat cent date and mint sets. A blackened or rusty example is usually classified as environmentally damaged, which lowers its grade, but it does not erase its historical significance. For budget collectors, such coins offer an affordable way to own a semi-key date that would otherwise cost far more in clean condition. This demand keeps even low-grade examples relevant in today's market. Now let's talk about current market value in dollars. In today's auction and collector market, a 1919 S wheat penny in heavily circulated condition with dark or rusty surfaces typically sells for around $85,000, depending on how readable the date and mint mark are. If the coin has severe corrosion, pitting, or damage, the value may drop closer to the lower end of that range. However, examples with strong details, even with dark coloration, can still attract competitive bidding. In better circulated grades without major damage, values can rise significantly, and in higher mint state grades, the 1919 S wheat penny can reach $90,000. This wide value range makes it a very educational coin for collectors learning how condition impacts price. For collectors, there are a few important tips to keep in mind when dealing with a 1919 S wheat penny. Always confirm the authenticity of the S mint mark, as altered coins do exist. Avoid cleaning the coin, even if it looks dirty or rusty, because cleaning can permanently reduce its value. Store the coin in a dry, protective holder to prevent further corrosion, and consider professional grading if the coin appears to have strong remaining detail. Even lower-grade examples can serve as excellent placeholders in a collection and still carry respectable market value. The United States 1919 S wheat penny is a powerful reminder that value in coin collecting is not just about shine and perfection. Even in black, dark, or rusty condition, this coin represents a key period in American history and a semi-key date in the Lincoln Cent series. Its San Francisco mint mark, lower mintage, and strong collector demand ensure that it continues to hold dollar value in today's auction market. Whether you are a beginner discovering old coins or an experienced collector filling gaps in a set, the 1919 wheat penny proves that every coin has a story, and sometimes, even the most worn coins can still be worth real money. Next up, the United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1930 with no mint mark. At first glance, this coin may look like an ordinary old penny, especially when it appears in a rusty or heavily worn condition. Many people might overlook it or assume it has no real value. However, for collectors and numismatic enthusiasts, even a 1930 wheat penny in rough condition can carry historical importance, collector interest, and surprising value in today's auction market. We will explore why this coin still matters, what makes it unique, and how much it can be worth in dollars right now. The 1930 wheat penny. We need to look back at its history and background. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical person instead of a symbolic figure. By 1930, the United States was entering the early years of the Great Depression, a time of economic hardship, unemployment, and uncertainty. Pennies from this era circulated heavily, changing hands countless times as people relied on small denominations for everyday purchases. The 1930 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at that time. This coin is a silent witness to a challenging period in American history, making it meaningful beyond its face value. When we talk about the unique features of the 1930 wheat penny, there is a lot to appreciate. On the obverse, or front side, the coin features Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" along the top, Liberty on the left, and the date, 1930, on the right. The absence of a mint mark below the date tells us it was produced in Philadelphia. On the reverse side, you will see two wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with the Latin phrase E pluribus unum at the top. The coin is composed primarily of copper, which explains why many examples develop a brown color, corrosion, or rust-like appearance after decades of circulation and exposure to moisture. Even in rusty or damaged condition, the design elements still tell a powerful story of early 20th century American coinage. Rarity and condition play a major role in collector demand, and this is where things get interesting. The 1930 wheat penny without a mint mark is not considered extremely rare in terms of mintage, as millions were produced. However, survival rates in collectible condition are much lower because these coins were heavily used during the Great Depression. Most examples found today are worn, scratched, corroded, or rusty. While top-grade uncirculated examples are far more valuable, there is still steady demand for lower-grade coins, especially from beginner collectors, date and mint set builders, and history-focused collectors. Rusty or corroded coins are generally less desirable, but they are not worthless. In fact, some collectors actively seek affordable examples just to complete a set or to own a genuine piece of history from the 1930s. Now let's talk about current market value in dollars, which is what many viewers are most curious about. In today's auction and collector market, a 1930 wheat penny with no mint mark in heavily worn or rusty condition typically sells for around $75,000, depending on eye appeal and the severity of corrosion. If the coin has readable details and minimal damage despite its rust, it may reach $78,000 in some online auctions. Coins with unusual errors, attractive toning, or better than average detail can sometimes sell for even more. On the higher end, well-preserved examples in fine to extremely fine condition can range from $115,000, while uncirculated or high-grade certified coins can reach much higher prices. The key takeaway is that even a rough-looking 1930 wheat penny can still hold real monetary value beyond face value. For collectors, there are several important tips to keep in mind when dealing with a 1930 wheat penny in rusty condition. First, never try to clean the coin, even if it looks dirty or corroded. Cleaning can permanently damage the surface and reduce its value. Second, store the coin in a dry, protective holder to prevent further corrosion, especially since copper is sensitive to moisture. Third, take time to examine the coin carefully for errors, such as doubled lettering, unusual marks, or off-center strikes, as these can significantly increase value. Finally, compare recent auction sales rather than relying on asking prices, because real market value is determined by what collectors are actually willing to pay. The United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1930 without a mint mark is more than just an old, rusty penny. It is a historical artifact from the Great Depression era, a symbol of everyday life during one of America's toughest economic periods, and a collectible coin that still holds value in today's market. Even in worn or rusty condition, it can be worth several times its face value and remains popular among collectors worldwide. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or someone who just found an old penny in a drawer, the 1930 wheat penny reminds us that history can be small, humble, and still incredibly meaningful. Next up, the United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1925 with no mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it may seem like an ordinary old copper penny, but when found in fine condition, this nearly century-old coin carries historical significance, collector demand, and real auction market value in today's dollars. By the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1925 no mint mark wheat penny continues to attract attention and why it deserves a closer look in any collection. The history of the 1925 wheat penny begins during a fascinating era in American coinage. The Lincoln wheat cent design was introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, making it the first U.S. circulating coin to feature a real historical figure. By 1925, the United States was experiencing the economic growth of the Roaring '20s, just a few years before the Great Depression would change the nation forever. Pennies struck in this year were used daily for small purchases such as newspapers, candy, and basic goods, which means most examples entered heavy circulation. The absence of a mint mark tells us this coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, the primary mint of the era, and many of these coins saw decades of use before collectors began saving them seriously. When it comes to unique features, the 1925 wheat penny showcases the classic design elements that define this beloved series. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait appears with strong historical detail, surrounded by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1925. In fine condition, Lincoln's facial features remain visible, with moderate wear but clear outlines. The reverse displays two wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum across the top. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it a warm reddish-brown or chocolate tone depending on age and preservation. Its diameter, weight, and simple yet elegant artwork make it instantly recognizable to collectors worldwide. Although the 1925 no mint mark wheat penny is not the rarest date in the series, its rarity becomes more meaningful when condition is taken into account. Millions were originally minted, but survival rates in fine or better condition are much lower because these coins circulated heavily for decades. Collectors strongly prefer examples with even wear, readable lettering, solid wheat lines, and no major damage. In fine condition, the coin strikes a balance between affordability and historical charm, making it highly desirable for collectors building complete wheat penny date sets. Demand remains steady because many collectors seek an honest, original example rather than a heavily worn or cleaned coin. In today's auction and collector market, the value of a 1925 wheat penny without a mint mark depends heavily on its condition and eye appeal. In fine condition, this coin typically trades for several dollars, often ranging from around $86,000, depending on surface quality, color, and overall originality. Examples with stronger detail, attractive natural toning, or professional grading can sometimes command higher prices. While it may not reach the extreme prices of key-date wheat pennies, its value continues to rise slowly as more collectors enter the hobby and as surviving examples become harder to find in decent condition. For collectors interested in this coin, there are several important tips to keep in mind. Always examine the coin carefully for signs of cleaning, as harsh cleaning can significantly reduce its value. Look for even wear and original surfaces rather than bright, unnatural shine. Storing your wheat penny in a proper coin holder or album will help protect it from further damage and preserve its long-term value. If you believe you have a particularly strong example, consider professional grading to authenticate and protect your investment. Most importantly, focus on learning and enjoying the history behind the coin, not just its dollar value. The 1925 United States wheat penny 1 cent without a mint mark is a wonderful example of how everyday pocket change can transform into a meaningful collectible over time. With its rich historical background, classic design, steady collector demand, and respectable auction market value in fine condition, this coin remains an important part of American numismatic history. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, The 1925 wheat penny is a reminder that even the smallest coin can carry a big story and lasting value. Next up, the United States wheat penny 1 cent from 1926 with no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Even in circulated condition, this coin continues to attract attention in today's auction market, and depending on its preservation, it can carry a surprising dollar value. The story of the 1926 wheat penny begins in the early 20th century, during a time when the United States was experiencing rapid industrial growth and social change. The wheat penny series itself was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it marked the first time a real historical figure appeared on a regularly circulating U.S. coin. By 1926, the wheat penny was already a familiar sight in everyday commerce, passing through countless hands during the Roaring '20s, just a few years before the Great Depression would reshape the nation. The 1926 no-mint mark penny was produced in Philadelphia, which traditionally struck the highest number of coins, yet age, circulation, and later melting and loss have made surviving examples increasingly desirable to collectors today. When we take a closer look at the unique features of the 1926 wheat penny, its classic design immediately stands out. The obverse features Abraham Lincoln's right-facing portrait, showing fine details in the hair, cheek, and coat lines when well preserved. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1926. The reverse displays two stylized wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum across the top. The absence of a mint mark below the date confirms it was struck in Philadelphia. The coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, giving it the warm reddish-brown tone collectors love. Even in circulated condition, original surfaces, clear lettering, and strong wheat lines can significantly improve its appeal and value. In terms of rarity and collector demand, the 1926 no-mint mark wheat penny occupies an interesting position. While it is not the rarest date in the wheat penny series, it is far from insignificant. Millions were minted, but nearly a century of circulation has taken its toll. Many examples show heavy wear, weak details, or damage from improper storage. Collectors today actively seek pieces that remain problem-free, even if circulated. Coins with readable dates, solid rims, and visible wheat stock details are especially popular among both beginner and advanced collectors completing Lincoln Cent albums. Demand increases further for coins with better color, minimal corrosion, and smooth surfaces, which are becoming harder to find each year. Now let's talk about current market value in dollars, which is what many viewers are most curious about. In today's auction and collector market, a 1926 wheat penny with no mint mark in circulated condition typically ranges from around $79,000, depending on the level of wear. Coins in very fine to extremely fine condition can sell for $94,000 or more. If a coin shows strong detail and appealing original color, it can command even higher prices. Uncirculated examples, which are much rarer, can reach into the $1 million. Additionally, any coin with unusual characteristics, such as die cracks, repunched dates, or other mint errors, may bring a premium far beyond standard price guides. For collectors interested in owning or investing in a 1926 wheat penny, there are several important tips to keep in mind. Always examine the date and mint area carefully to confirm there is truly no mint mark. Use good lighting and magnification to check for excessive wear, scratches, or corrosion, which can reduce value. Avoid cleaning the coin, as cleaning almost always lowers collector demand and resale price. Storing the penny in a proper coin holder or album will help preserve its condition over time. It's also wise to compare recent auction results rather than relying on outdated price lists, as the market for wheat pennies continues to evolve. The United States wheat penny 1 cent from 1926 with no mint mark is a fascinating blend of history, artistry, and collector value. Though it may appear to be a simple old penny, it represents a key era in American coinage and continues to hold strong appeal in today's market. Whether you already have one in your collection, are searching through old change, or are considering adding this coin to your holdings, the 1926 wheat penny proves that even circulated coins can carry meaningful dollar value and historical significance. Next up, we are diving deep into the story, significance, and present-day value of the United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1939 with no mint mark, examined specifically in very fine condition. This coin sits at an interesting crossroads in American coinage history, produced on the eve of World War II, during a time of economic recovery, technological transition, and growing national identity. While it may not always grab headlines like ultra-rare key dates, the 1939 Philadelphia wheat penny remains a strong and respected collectible, especially when preserved in solid condition. In today's auction-driven market, even so-called common dates can surprise collectors when quality, originality, and demand align. Stay with us as we explore why this particular coin still matters, how to identify its best features, what collectors look for today, and how much it can realistically be worth in modern dollars. To understand the importance of the 1939 wheat penny, we must first step back into the broader history of the Lincoln cent series. The wheat penny, officially known as the Lincoln wheat cent, was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the first regularly circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure rather than an allegorical image, marking a significant shift in American coin design. Created by sculptor Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent quickly became a symbol of national pride and democratic values. By the time 1939 arrived, the wheat penny had already been in circulation for 3 decades and was firmly embedded in American daily life. The year 1939 itself was historically significant, as the United States was emerging from the Great Depression while the world was sliding toward global conflict. Although America had not yet entered World War II, industrial production was rising, employment was improving, and the U.S. Mint was striking millions of coins to support growing economic activity. The 1939 wheat penny was produced during this transitional period, making it a tangible artifact of a nation preparing for profound change. The 1939 wheat penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during this era. Philadelphia served as the primary production facility for U.S. coinage, and in 1939 it struck a substantial number of Lincoln cents to meet circulation demands. The total mintage exceeded 316 million coins, which on the surface suggests abundance. However, mintage numbers alone do not tell the full story. Many of these coins circulated heavily during the war years, suffered wear, damage, or corrosion, and were eventually lost, melted, or discarded. As a result, high-quality survivors are far scarcer than raw production figures might suggest. This is especially true for coins in very fine condition or better, where original design details remain visible and attractive. When examining the unique features of the 1939 wheat penny, the first thing that stands out is its classic and enduring design. The obverse features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, with strong, dignified lines that emphasize his leadership and humanity. In very fine condition, Lincoln's hairlines are mostly visible, especially above the ear and along the temple. The cheek and jawline show moderate wear but retain definition, and the overall portrait remains sharp enough to display Brenner's original artistic intent. The inscriptions "In God We Trust" along the top rim, "Liberty" to the left, and the date, 1939, to the right are all clear and readable, which is critical for collector appeal. On the reverse, the iconic wheat ears frame the denomination 1 cent and the legend United States of America, with E pluribus unum displayed above. In very fine condition, the wheat stalks show visible lines and separation, though some finer detail may be softened by circulation. This balance of wear and preservation gives the coin character without sacrificing its identity. From a technical standpoint, the 1939 wheat penny is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams with a diameter of 19 millimeters. The coin's reddish-brown tone, when original, is particularly appealing to collectors. Many surviving examples have developed a natural brown patina, while others may retain traces of red luster, depending on storage conditions. Original surfaces are highly prized in today's market, and collectors are increasingly cautious about cleaned or altered coins. A natural, problem-free, very fine example will always outperform a higher-grade coin that has been improperly cleaned or damaged. The concept of rarity for the 1939 wheat penny is nuanced. While it is not a key date in the traditional sense, its desirability increases significantly with condition. In lower circulated grades such as good or fine, these coins are common and widely available. However, in very fine condition, the pool of surviving examples begins to narrow. Coins from this era were often used extensively, passed from hand to hand during wartime rationing and economic expansion. As a result, finding a 1939 Philadelphia wheat penny with evenly worn surfaces, sharp lettering, and no major marks, corrosion, or discoloration can be more challenging than many newcomers expect. This condition-based rarity drives collector demand, particularly among those assembling complete date and mint sets of Lincoln wheat cents. Collector demand for the 1939 no-mint mark wheat penny is fueled by several factors. First, it represents a late Depression-era issue, appealing to historians and thematic collectors. Second, it fits neatly into both beginner and advanced collections, making it a versatile coin. Third, it serves as a transitional piece just a few years before the dramatic composition changes of the 1940s and the steel cents of 1943. Many collectors aim to acquire a solid example of each pre-war wheat penny, and the 1939 issue often becomes a benchmark for evaluating condition and originality within a set. Very fine examples strike an ideal balance between affordability and visual appeal, offering strong detail without the high cost associated with uncirculated specimens. The current market value. It is important to understand that prices fluctuate based on demand, overall market conditions, and the quality of individual coins. As of today's active auction and dealer markets, a 1939 wheat penny with no mint mark in very fine condition typically sells in the range of approximately $85,000. Coins on the lower end of this range may show slightly heavier wear or less eye appeal, while premium examples with strong detail, even coloration, and original surfaces can command higher prices. Certified examples graded VF20 to VF30 by reputable grading services may bring stronger results, particularly if they display above-average eye appeal. It is also worth noting that prices can increase during periods of heightened interest in copper coins or historical U.S. coinage, as well as during economic uncertainty when tangible assets gain popularity. Auction results often reveal that collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that stand out visually. A well-struck 1939 wheat penny with smooth surfaces, minimal contact marks, and an attractive patina can outperform price guides. Conversely, coins with cleaning marks, scratches, or environmental damage may struggle to reach even modest valuations. This underscores the importance of understanding grading standards and market preferences when evaluating potential purchases or sales. For collectors interested in acquiring or holding a 1939 wheat penny, there are several important considerations to keep in mind. First and foremost, authenticity and originality are key. Always examine coins carefully for signs of cleaning, artificial toning, or damage. Natural wear should appear even across the surface, without harsh lines or unnatural brightness. Storage also plays a critical role in preserving value. Copper coins are particularly sensitive to moisture, heat, and chemical exposure, so proper holders and stable environments are essential. Investing in archival quality coin flips or certified holders can help protect your collection over time. Another valuable tip for collectors is to study multiple examples of the same coin. By comparing different very fine specimens, you can develop a sharper eye for quality and learn to distinguish average coins from premium ones. This knowledge becomes invaluable when navigating auctions or dealer inventories. Patience is also crucial. The market regularly offers opportunities, and waiting for the right coin at the right price often leads to better long-term satisfaction and returns. Collectors should also stay informed about broader market trends. The popularity of Lincoln cents has remained strong for generations, supported by educational programs, nostalgia, and accessibility. As new collectors enter the hobby, demand for classic issues like the 1939 wheat penny continues to grow. While dramatic price spikes are uncommon for this date, steady appreciation and consistent liquidity make it a reliable and enjoyable addition to many collections. The United States wheat penny 1 cent dated 1939 with no mint mark, especially in very fine condition, is far more than a simple piece of copper. It is a historical artifact from a pivotal moment in American history, a testament to enduring design, and a practical example of how condition drives value in numismatics. In today's auction market, a well-preserved example can bring respectable dollar value and serve as a cornerstone for both beginner and advanced collections. Whether you are holding one in your collection, searching for an upgrade, or simply appreciating its story, the 1939 wheat penny reminds us that even everyday coins can carry extraordinary meaning. Next up, the 1937 United States wheat penny, the 1-cent coin without a mint mark, in fine condition. At first glance, this may seem like just another coin, something that has changed hands countless times in pockets, cash registers, and coin jars. However, this coin is far more than a simple piece of copper. It is a symbol of American history, a piece of art, a reflection of economic conditions, and for collectors today, a rare and highly sought-after item that commands impressive value on the auction market. The United States wheat penny series, officially known as the Lincoln cent, has captured the imagination of collectors for over a century. Designed to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the Lincoln cent was first issued in 1909 and replaced the Indian head cent, which had been in circulation since the mid-19th century. Today, we will examine the 1937 edition of this iconic coin, focusing on the coin without a mint mark, a coin struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the original and longest operating mint facility in the United States. We will explore its historical background, unique features, rarity, condition, current market value, and tips for collectors who may be lucky enough to come across one in their coin rolls or collections. To truly appreciate the 1937 wheat penny, we must first understand its origins and the historical context in which it was produced. The Lincoln cent was introduced in 1909, designed by Victor David Brenner, and it immediately became a symbol of the respect Americans held for Abraham Lincoln. Brenner's design was revolutionary because it marked the first time a U.S. president appeared on a circulating coin. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing profile of Lincoln, while the reverse, which became known as the wheat ears or wheat reverse, displays two stylized wheat stalks flanking the words 1 cent and United States of America. By 1937, the Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation for nearly 3 decades, witnessing significant economic and social changes in America. The country was still emerging from the depths of the Great Depression, and President Franklin D. Roosevelt was implementing the New Deal programs to stimulate economic recovery. Coins like the 1937 wheat penny were more than just currency. They were symbols of stability and continuity in a time of uncertainty. The Lincoln cent remained popular not only for its historical significance, but also for its practical use in everyday commerce. The 1937 wheat penny was produced in 3 mints: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D Mint Mark, and San Francisco S Mint Mark. The coin we are focusing on today, without a mint mark, originates from the Philadelphia Mint. The very birthplace of the Lincoln cent. Philadelphia was responsible for the bulk of Lincoln cents produced in this era, which makes this coin widely circulated. Yet finding one in fine condition today is increasingly rare due to wear and tear over nearly a century of handling. Every coin has characteristics that make it unique, and the 1937 wheat penny is no exception. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile, an image that has become synonymous with the American penny itself. The date, 1937, is stamped clearly beneath Lincoln's portrait, and above it is the word liberty, representing the core principle that Lincoln fought to uphold. To the right of Lincoln's bust is the inscription, "In God We Trust," which became a standard feature on U.S. coins following legislation in 1864. The reverse of the coin features the famous wheat ears, a design element that remained in place from 1909 to 1958. The wheat ears not only symbolize agricultural prosperity and the backbone of the American economy at the time, but they also serve as a beautiful frame for the coin's central inscriptions. 1 cent is prominently displayed in the center, with United States of America underneath, and the phrase E pluribus unum arches across the top, reminding us of the unity of the nation. What makes the 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark particularly special is its simplicity and authenticity. Coins with mint marks from Denver or San Francisco have different production characteristics, but the Philadelphia coin carries the original design without any additional identifiers. Collectors often look for subtle variations in the die used, the strike quality, and even minor imperfections that occurred during production, as these can significantly affect the coin's value. A fine-condition coin retains moderate detail in Lincoln's features, the wheat ears, and the inscriptions, despite having some wear from circulation. When discussing rarity, it's important to understand that rarity is not only determined by mintage numbers, but also by survival rates and collector interest. In 1937, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of wheat pennies, making it one of the higher mintage coins of its time. However, due to heavy circulation, the majority of these coins have experienced significant wear, corrosion, or loss over time. Finding a 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition is relatively rare. Collectors categorize coin conditions using a grading system that ranges from poor to mint state. A coin in fine condition, often abbreviated as F, retains considerable detail but shows clear signs of wear. For the 1937 wheat penny, this means Lincoln's hair and beard are partially visible, some lines in the wheat stalks remain, and the major inscriptions are legible. Coins in this condition are particularly sought after because they represent a balance between accessibility and historical integrity. They are old enough to be valuable, yet they are not so worn that details are lost entirely. Demand for the 1937 wheat penny is strong among collectors, especially those who specialize in wheat pennies or early 20th century U.S. coins. This demand is fueled by several factors. First, the coin's age makes it a historical artifact. Second, The absence of a mint mark identifies it as a Philadelphia piece, which is considered the original mint for Lincoln cents. Third, fine condition coins are relatively scarce, making them more desirable than heavily circulated examples. The coin's appeal is further enhanced by the general interest in completing a full set of Lincoln wheat pennies, a common goal among collectors and numismatists. As of today, the market value of a 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition varies depending on demand, auction dynamics, and the specific condition of the coin. In circulated condition, these coins are valued between $77,000 at retail, but when we look at a fine-grade example, the price increases considerably. Coins graded by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC typically fetch between $89,000 in private sales or auctions. However, the value can escalate significantly if the coin exhibits unusual features, such as strong strikes, minimal corrosion, or a particularly attractive patina. Coins with minor die variations or mint errors can also command higher prices, sometimes $1 million for truly rare examples. Additionally, auction markets and online marketplaces have contributed to a more dynamic valuation process, allowing collectors to compete for high-quality coins. For anyone holding a 1937 wheat penny in fine condition, this represents an excellent opportunity, as the coin is both a historically significant artifact and a financially rewarding collectible. If you are a collector seeking to acquire or preserve a 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark, there are several strategies to keep in mind. First, always verify the coin's authenticity. While the 1937 wheat penny is not rare in terms of counterfeit risk compared to modern high-value coins, it is still important to ensure that the coin is genuine, particularly if you are purchasing it from an online auction or private seller. Second, pay attention to condition and grading. Even within the fine category, coins can vary in terms of wear, luster, and strike quality. Professional grading can provide assurance of authenticity and condition, which can significantly affect resale value. Third, store coins properly to preserve their condition. Use coin holders, flips, or capsules, and keep them in a cool, dry environment. Avoid handling coins directly with your fingers, as oils and dirt can damage the surface over time. Fourth, research the market. Familiarize yourself with current auction prices, dealer offerings, and collector trends. This will help you make informed purchasing or selling decisions. For those who are serious about collecting wheat pennies, joining numismatic clubs or online forums can also provide valuable insights, tips, and trading opportunities. Finally, consider long-term value. The 1937 wheat penny is not only a collectible coin, but also a piece of American history. Holding onto well-preserved examples can be a wise investment, as demand for high-quality coins continues to grow among collectors and investors alike. The 1937 United States wheat penny without a mint mark in fine condition is a remarkable coin with a rich history and enduring appeal. From its origin at the Philadelphia Mint during a pivotal era in American history to its detailed design featuring Lincoln's portrait and the iconic wheat ears, this coin represents more than just currency. It is a symbol of American heritage. Its rarity, particularly in fine condition, makes it a coveted item for collectors seeking to complete their Lincoln wheat penny sets or to acquire a tangible piece of the nation's past. The current market value reflects both its historical significance and collector demand, making it a rewarding addition to any coin collection. By understanding the unique features, historical context, and proper handling techniques, collectors can ensure that their 1937 wheat penny retains its beauty and value for decades to come. Whether you are a seasoned numismatist or a new collector, this coin serves as a reminder of the enduring appeal of American coinage and the stories that each coin carries. The 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark is more than just a small piece of copper. It is a window into history, a testament to American resilience, and a tangible connection to one of the most respected leaders in the nation's history. So the next time you come across a wheat penny from 1937, take a moment to appreciate not only its monetary value, but also the rich story it represents. For collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike, this coin remains a timeless treasure, one that continues to capture the imagination and admiration of all who encounter it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into classic American coinage, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Until next time, keep collecting, keep learning, and keep your eyes open. You never know what hidden treasure might be waiting in your collection.